How your iPhone is made in a factory. Modern technology. Where and exactly how are iPhones made? And what is it like inside Apple's production line? Let's get into a behind-the-scenes glimpse inside Apple's manufacturing plant for the iPhone. The iPhone, which was first introduced by Apple in 2007, has quickly become one of the most well-known cell phones in the world. Hello everyone, and thank you for choosing our channel as your go-to resource. Make sure to click the bell icon and subscribe to this channel so that you are notified immediately whenever there is an update. Apple has made hundreds of billions of dollars off the sales of over 1 billion iPhones and iPads. The iPhone has played a significant role in influencing a sea change in the way people use mobile phones. Apple's stellar reputation has been built in large part on the company's knack for creating groundbreaking electronic gadgets. Millions of Apple iPhone users throughout the globe are happy to pay full price for the phone because of its high build quality and innovative features. However, many customers likely have little clue as to what goes into making an iPhone. The reality is, however, that your iPhone was not made or developed in a single location. An iPhone is a collaborative effort between several nations and businesses. A product may be created in California, but that doesn't imply it's made there. Anyone who has purchased an iPhone or other Apple product is likely familiar with this disclaimer. Where strictly do iPhones come from, and what's it like to work on an iPhone at Apple? There are two crucial ideas that seem similar but are extremely distinct. When attempting to understand how and where Apple makes its gadgets, creating the parts that go into an iPhone is known as assembling and manufacturing. iPhones are designed and sold by Apple, yet Apple does not produce any of the parts that go into making an iPhone. The term assembly refers to the process of putting together an iPhone from its several parts, each of which has been manufactured by a different company. The majority of making an iPhone involves acquiring components from suppliers and putting them together in reliable facilities. The components for the Apple iPhone come from all corners of the globe. They are eager to comb the world for the greatest component manufacturer in an effort to provide the most cutting-edge technology at the most affordable prices. They need to find the greatest firms to collaborate with, but in the meanwhile, they must partner and collaborate with components. More than 200 global firms with the capacity for mass production create and sell to companies that make Apple iPhones and parts they need to make iPhones. Manufacturing facilities for electronic components, such as memory chips, display interfaces, camera housings, and peripherals. Many other nations, including the United States, contribute to the global distribution of these components. These suppliers provide their finished products to factories all around the world that process enormous quantities of apples. Parts of the iPhone are sent to Apple's iPhone plant facilities in China, while the actual assembly takes place in East and Southeast Asia, where labor is cheap and plentiful, although there are iPhone factories in many nations throughout the globe, including the Czech Republic, Malaysia, Thailand, South Korea, Singapore, and the Philippines. These factories are merely a component of two larger factories, Foxconn and Pegatron. These Taiwanese companies oversee iPhone manufacturing and make sure finished iPhones are delivered on schedule and according to Apple's quality requirements. However, nothing compares to the 2.2 million square foot Foxconn facility in Zhengzhou, China, often known as iPhone City. It has a great assembly line, which is one of its main benefits. About 350,000 employees are working at the Foxconn facility. Foxconn has been Apple's partner in iPhone production for the longest period of time. For the time being, the vast majority of iPhones are assembled by Foxconn for Apple. Foxconn established a facility in Shenzhen, China, in 2010, nearly solely to produce Apple's iPhone. Province of British Columbia government grant of $600 million to meet production needs. In a technological sense, this plant is capable of producing the manufacturer of the iPhone is known by the brand name Foxconn. We are formerly known as Hanhai Precision Industry Company Limited. The final iPhone assembly, testing, and packaging take place at this facility. The plant in Zhengzhou has 94 assembly lines and requires 9 manufacturers to create 500,000 iPhones every day, or around 350 per minute. In this particular assembly process, the vast majority of the workers will be doing the identical activity over and over again. It may take up to a minute to do some tasks on an iPhone, such as cleaning the screen, soldering a component, or putting a screw into the back of the device. In order to successfully lock down an iPhone, you will need to complete between 600 and 700 in a single day. When an iPhone is finished being manufactured, it is promptly packaged in an immaculate white fiberboard box, covered in plastic, and then stacked onto a wooden pallet in preparation for transportation to cars that are waiting nearby. As a result of the fact that a sizable Chinese customs facility is situated inside a so-called bonded zone, It is now much simpler for Apple to sell iPhones to consumers in China. The facility is just a few hundred yards away from the factory entrance, which is where the iPhones that are being built will be taken. Chengdu, China, which is the last stage in the iPhone production process, is also the location where Apple's international tax strategy gets its start. Foxconn typically sends finished iPhones to Apple at the customs facility and then distributes them to Apple's affiliates across the globe. Smartphones are tiny enough to be carried by aircraft in large numbers at a low cost. But a few years ago, Chinese-made personal computers took roughly a month to convey us in container ships. Apple has shipping relationships with major carriers like FedEx and UPS to get iPhones to customers all around the globe. Approximately 150,000 iPhones may be stowed away in the metal container of a single Boeing 747 trip. The iPhones, destined for the United States and other countries, are driven out of customs and onto Chengdu Airport in China. Recent years have seen a massive expansion of the airport. From Chengdu Airport, Apple has expanded the number of flights by UPS, FedEx, and other freight carriers to accommodate the rising iPhone manufacturing. Aircraft carrying iPhones, designed for the United States, refuel in Anchorage, Alaska, before continuing on to Louisville, Kentucky, where logistics experts shift and redistribute the devices to their ultimate destinations. Customers in China must spend much more on iPhones due to the country's high value-added tax and unstable currency. The price of a 32GB iPhone 7 at the Apple Store in Shanghai is around $776, about $649 in New York City, more than 20 kilometers separate from the Foxconn facility in Chengdu. Foxconn is located in the rural area of Chengdu, a metropolis with a population of around 10 million people, away from the urban core and divided by motorways, suburbs, and dirt scrublands. As of the year 2020, due to the construction of new roads, housing, and power plants, the quality of life for the city's poorest citizens has improved dramatically. Because of the large number of workers, the area around the facility has been called the iPhone City by locals. Dormitories for industrial employees are located in 10 to 12-story structures just outside Foxconn's gates. At the same time, a roving workforce of 1.3 million workers set up shop below and around the dormitories, selling everything from socks and underwear to street food and massages. Mainland China since 2007. When it started manufacturing iPhones for Apple, Foxconn has become the biggest private employer in the nation. Suicides among Foxconn employees sparked rioting by workers denouncing their working conditions and living quarters. Apple and Foxconn made modifications to production employees' meals and hygiene after receiving complaints. Workers on the day shift stated arriving at the plant gates at 7 a.m., even though the official start time for the day shift is 8 a.m. Motor scooters are popular among the well-off students, but the vast majority of students either walk from local dormitories or use the bus to go to their destinations in the remote buildings. Approximately 20% of your work week will be overtime. It wasn't so long that Apple didn't use Pegatron to assemble iPhones. It's believed that its Chinese factories produced over 30% of all iPhones. Okay everyone, what do you think of Apple's iPhone manufacturing facility? Let's hear your thoughts on the technology of the next year in the comments below. If you have something to say, please leave it in the comments box.